Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
Hello, I'm Dale Lethbridge with Real Agriculture. Today I'm at the Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada Research Station in Lethbridge in a really unique part of the facility, and I'm with Hayley Catton. How are you doing today, Hayley?
Oh, I'm doing great. Welcome to Lethbridge.
Great, thank you. We're going to talk a little bit about this facility in a couple of minutes. I'll give people a hint. You are an entomologist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, so it might have something to do with that. Part of entomology, you study a lot of different insects that are of interest to farmers in Western Canada. Do you want to talk a little bit about the insects that you actually study?
Yeah, absolutely. We study, or my lab group studies crop pests and beneficial pests. So basically all the insects, or many of the insects that are in a crop field that can have an ecological and economic impact on the farmer's yield.
Okay, so one of the insects that's really becoming more and more interest is wireworm. Do you want to speak a little bit about your interest in wireworm and why you're studying it?
Yes, so I started my career here 2.5 years ago, and I asked farmers when I got here what are the most important things for me to study, and wireworm kept coming up. And the reason for that being is that it's a complicated pest with not many answers. So wireworm is when we say wireworm, we're referring to more than one species. So across Canada, there are 30 pest species of wireworm, and in Alberta, we have 3 to 5 main pest species. Now, these are insects that, as adults, they're beetles. They lay eggs on the soil, and those eggs hatch, and those larvae in the soil will live there for 2 to 7 years.
The same larva.
The same larvae, yeah. So they have a long life cycle. Yeah. They're in the soil, so they're hard to study, they're hard to monitor, and they'll eat almost all your crops.
So they're not too specific, but they are a big problem for wheat.
Yeah, especially cereals, but also pulse crops as well. Canola we're not too sure about, but there's more and more reports of them becoming important in canola. So wireworm is a major problem because there's not a lot of chemical control available. You can use neonicotinoid seed treatments, but those don't kill the wireworms. They put them to sleep.
So they just give them kind of like a hangover, like they get them drunk a little bit. Is that the idea?
Yeah, for enough time so that your wheat can germinate and become strong enough to withstand them once the wireworms wake up again. But those wireworms aren't dead, and they're going to be back in your field waiting there next year for next year's crop. Okay,
so it's becoming an emerging problem. Part of that is because I think that lindane used to control them, didn't it?
Yes, producers could use lindane up till about 2004, 2005. Now that pesticide is wearing off, residues are wearing off, the wireworm populations are rebounding.
So now they have to use other things, and what they use now is the neonicotinoids, and those aren't. As you say, they live 2 to 7 years, and so the neonicotinoids put them to sleep, but they don't kill them. So that life cycle continues then.
Yep, you betcha. So those wireworms will be there waiting for them, waiting for next year's crop.
So they just go to sleep, and when they wake up, if it's too late for them to eat the current crop, they just wait another year and eat the seedlings the following year?
They're actually very impressive, yes. They can take a whole year off eating if they want to. If they don't like what you planted this year, they'll go down in the soil and just wait you out until next year. So they're very impressive insects, and that makes them very hardy pests.
So what kind of things are you learning about these insects or studying with them?
So wireworms are being studied all across Canada. There's different species all across Canada.
Yes.
We're studying the effect of crop rotation on these insects.
Okay.
So out east in Prince Edward Island, they discovered that rotating with brown mustard can suppress wireworm populations.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So maybe from biofumigants in the plants that go into the soil. Oh. So brown mustard's related to canola. So we plant a lot of canola out here. So I just wanted to see if canola can at least tone down the infestation of wireworms even a little bit.
So you're going to just keep on working on trying to find answers for farmers about the wireworm problem.
Yes, we don't know very much about wireworms actually. You know, there's 3 to 5 main pest species in Alberta, but we don't know where the beetles lay their eggs. We don't know their preferences. So, I mean, if you have a group of females that lay an egg in your field, or lay eggs in your field, you're going to have problems there for up to 7 years. Right. So we really need to figure out where those females like to lay their eggs and see if we can kind of hack their life cycle and and try to protect fields from further infestations.
So the wireworm does the damage, but if you could actually attack the wireworm at any stage of its growth, at egg or beetle, then you actually could have a huge impact on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Prevention would be the best, and the click beetles are the most mobile and visible phase of their life cycle, right? Because the click beetles are on the ground wandering around, so they're easier to trap.
Yeah.
Wireworms themselves, the larval wireworms, are in the soil, which means they're hard to find. They can go down so deep that we can't find them at all, and working with soil is heavy.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to work with them.
Okay, well, we've teased people long enough. What are we actually standing in front of?
Yes, so this is one of my favorite places in the research center, and this is the Burlees funnel room. So because I mentioned wireworms live in the soil, to find them we need to take soil cores, and then we put them in these funnels here. So take a look at a funnel, we put the soil in there. Wireworms don't like light, they don't like heat.
Okay.
So put soil in there, and then the light and the heat will repel the wireworms to the bottom, where they fall underneath one of these funnels here, and then we have a vial there waiting for them with ethanol preservative in them. So they fall to their death, and then they sit there and wait for us to identify them over the winter months. So right now things are shut down for the year. Normally you'd see a bunch of vials and a bunch of insects in them.
Okay, sure.
And a bunch of soil in these funnels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just really want to thank Haley for being with us on Real Agriculture today. Thanks for touring us around the Agriculture and Agri-Food Center here at Lethbridge.
Thank you very much, Dale.